What up? What's good? How we doing today? How we doing today? How we looking? Okay. Just doing okay. You doing? Working and lurking. Drug resistant migraine. Yeah, I get you. She's forever keep us hella sick. She's sick. No. No. DMV. That sucks. You're doing as well as an imploded tanker vessel under vacuum. Yeah, yeah. I think, I think. Me too, I'm feeling a little bit better. I was getting some bad allergies yesterday. It's a bit better today. It's a bit better. I have to keep blowing my nose out a little bit. I had a nosebleed yesterday, and it was a pretty bad one. And then I have like, you get like scabs from it. You know what I mean? Um, and I'm just doing everything I can to make sure I stay hydrated and I don't like sneeze one of those out or something, And because if you sneeze hard enough, then they come undone, and then you're bleeding again, and that whole thing. I think I'll be okay, but yeah. I think if I just stay hydrated, I'll be okay. I have not been really sneezing much today at all, so I should be okay. But we'll see. You just don't know. You just don't know. Anyway, I'm gonna hydrate the fuck out of myself. Okay, once I got to check one thing real quick. Okay, there we go. There we go. Anyway, welcome on in. Welcome on in. I wasn't sure what to do today specifically, but I kind of wanted to do something along the lines of on Steam. There's a sale. It's the City Builder and Colony Sim Fest, and I was like, yeah, I haven't played something along those lines in a while, so I was just looking through it. I'm trying to figure out if I wanted to play any of those, and honestly, honestly, RimWorld was on there, and I was like, you know, I still haven't played RimWorld, and everyone keeps telling me I have to. So that's potentially there. I could just continue. Diplomacy is not an option because I really like that game. And I would like to go further than just playing, you know, the beginning bits of it. A lot of you guys like that one, so that one could be there. I do a vintage story. A lot of people are like, that game's a lot, but you'd like it. There are others on here that I think I'd like playing, but maybe not on stream. Maybe just head empty playing them. There's Dot Age. I actually was supposed to be sponsored for it. In the last minute, like, the date didn't work out. So I did look into the game because of that. So that one looks kind of cute. I don't know, a lot of the games on here, I feel like they recycle the same shit with each other, though, so I don't want to go through and play like a million city builders and resource managers, because I feel like they all start off with the same premise. So I'm just trying to sift through and be like, you know, I do want to play some of this kind of stuff, but they're so incredibly similar that, like, I feel like 80% of these are the same game. But I like the genre overall when there is a good one. So, you know, saw co-play Atomfall. Oh yeah, that one recently. Was that a full release or was that let me look. Was that like early access? Atomfall. That was another one that we almost got sponsored for. Yeah, it's like, we talked about this. Nuclear disaster left an area of Britain in tatters. Survival action game. As you search through for answers. It looks alright. It looks pretty cool. I don't know that I want to try it that badly, though, if I'm being honest. Like, I'm just like, yeah, it's pretty cool, guys. Yeah, it's okay, I guess. It doesn't... It does seem nice. It just doesn't seem that good. See the stream title, hope you're feeling okay. I'm just, you know, on that energy every day, to be honest. You like RimWorld and Vintage Story? They're pretty fun. I have been recommended both a billion times, so I feel like it, you know, it's worth at some point. Let me look. Was there anything else? Not really. I think those were the two that I really wanted to do. I think those were the two. Every day I wake up, etc., etc. Yeah. That's what I'm saying. Hey, Razor, I appreciate your sentiments, but this is not a hopeful zone, okay? This is a place where I want you to let out the ennui. All right, this is an ennui-coded community. I want to make that very clear. When you come to this chat, even if you're not normally like it, you put on your realist and ennui suit. And you say, I'm ready to sit here and exist. And I go, yeah, me too. We're banning Hope Core. We're gay and sad in here. Get with the program. This is a stream for sad gays, alright? How you spell that? E-N-N-U-I. Thought it was a romper? That too. That too. On-weed my pants. I on-weed my pants today. I'm a sad hetero. Well, you can be a sad ally. Welcome on in. It's okay, me too. It's okay to be straight. It's okay, guys. Where did I say vintage story? It's not on Steam. It's like a separate thing. Let me find it. One sec. I'll be on the screen soon. Vintage story. Vintage story? It's that game with voxels that looks like Minecraft, but it's just so much more. Did you see Minecraft is adding shaders? Built-in shaders for, like, kids who don't know how to download shaders? I think that's really good. Like, they're adding that to vanilla. I think that's nice, because a lot of kids want, like, you know, well-lit, beautiful Minecraft. But I don't, yeah, I was gonna say, I don't think kids should be, like, going on to sites like that to just download and find shaders. I don't think they get it. I don't think they get it. And I'd rather them just, you know, stay away from it. Can I play Vintage Story with other people? It looks like you can set up a server. Wait, let me see. Get me on the screen now. Sorry, I was doing a thing. Welcome on in. Let me see. Vintage. I think it would be fun if someone suffered with me. Easy on LAN for internet dedicated server. You can rent a server. Ooh, host makes single player game. Once running, hit escape, select open to LAN. This will cause your IP to show on your main HUD window. Okay. Yeah, I'd rather do it as a server. Okay. I mean, that's like normal. I mean, you can throw on a VPN. But yeah, setting up a server seems better. I'm just starting multiplayer server. I love their wiki. They have such a nice wiki. Let me see. Batch script method. Ooh. Oh, it's simple. Oh, they already have the tools in there. Ooh, okay. Noted. Okay. Alright, I see. Another one's possessed by the crooked chibi virus. Hey, I was one of the first people to get one. Fuck everyone else. Everyone who came after me was copying me, real and true. 100%. That was totally what they wanted to do. Real. You heard it here, folks. I did it. You need to set up that VPN egress for your router. Yeah. Was that Animal Crossing PvP PvE game? Yeah, that was Long Winter. Long Winter was actually really fun. It was like isometric Rust, isometric Animal Crossing looking visually Rust. The game itself was fun. I think there's some bits that are definitely scuffed, but it's, you know, it's not the full release. So I'm just gonna see how that goes. But that game, I liked it. The only thing is it's just like a lot of games like that where in order to maintain your base, you have to keep filling like a thing with wood. So you have to keep actively playing. You can't build a base and just let it sit there. You have to dedicate time to it. But I thought that'd be really fun as an event server, to be honest. I gotta look into it. But there should be a way to have your own dedicated server and then put like fucking 50 people on there or something. That could be fun to do an event. I gotta look into it. Let me see. Dedicated server. Dedicated server guide. I don't want to do one that's basically just your own, like, shitty little land thing. I want to actually set one up. Oh, it's actually not that bad to have one that's constantly running. Okay, okay. Noted, noted. I just like server-based stuff always, you know? They have it on G Portal. Oh, you know what? That's probably the easier way to do it. Honestly, G Portal is my goat. They've been so good for, like, anything I've ever needed. They've been wonderful. Highly, highly, highly recommend. apparently you could do 5M through them, so I was looking at it and I was like, what if we set one up just to dick around? But I feel like that's too much. It's too much. But maybe like a community long winter one. I don't know that people will spend that much time on long winter. Oh my god, you can set up a vintage story server through them easy though. $6 for a month of a server with 4 slots. Okay, okay. It's not too bad. Not too bad at all. You said you're still confused about the new Dune survival game. Thought it was a Rust clone, but now I'm reading it's more of an MMO. No, I think they were like advertising it as an MMO at first, but then we actually watched a little gameplay video on stream briefly, and it doesn't look like that. Let me see. Dune Awakening view page. Releases May 20th. I think it's open world survival craft played in teams. Yeah, like Conan Exiles. Well, isn't it the same people, right? Like the same studio? I think it's literally just Dune Conan Exiles. From what I was seeing. It could be fun. It could be fun, but maybe I'll stream it as soon as it drops so you guys can determine if you actually want to play it, because it's one of those things that if I were a viewer and not a streamer, I would sit and wait to see other people play it, to see if I would like it, because it's one of those things, it's kind of like hard to explain, I think. But the gameplay footage looked all right. Yeah, a little MMO light, a little bit. I think so. I think so. But there were a couple people that had like some gameplay footage of just from kind of like when you first drop in, and it looked all right. It looked all right. So maybe we'll play that. Maybe we'll play that. They have right now character creator and benchmark mode already done. I wish there were a demo, but I understand them not putting out a demo for something like this. I wish they would, though. Besides the vintage story. Yeah. I want to play it. I want to play it. The game looks really fun. The game looks fun, but it also looks like something that would frustrate the hell out of me, which is always funny. It's never not funny. We also might do, I think next week we might stream Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday here, and then I'll do Monday, Friday on alt. I'm just checking on one thing. There's Tony. Tony was asking if I could do an event Monday. Which I'm down for, but I was letting him know, like, look, I'm always around Tuesday, Friday, so. I'll just do that. We'll see. We'll see. Terrafirmacraft. I've heard a lot about Terrafirmacraft. Is it... I don't know what it is, though. I've just heard it... I heard a lot, as in seen people type about it. I've never seen it. What the hell is it? Is it their cave-ins? Is it like... Is it terrifying? MC month, it's basically just hyper-realistic Minecraft. Oh... Yeah, total conversion mod that overhauls and reinvents survival mode. The goal of the mod is to create a believable, challenging survival experience in a brand new immersive setting. Overhauls world gen, adds continents, flowing rivers, mountain ranges. Underground is reimagined layers of different types of rock, massive sparse ore deposits of several different types. Oh, I like that. To a full-fledged tech tree. Like pottery, pit kilns, producing iron with a bloomery, steelmaking, seasons, weather, world is more alive. Player must manage food's expiration, nutrition, and thirst using detailed food and cooking mechanics. Ooh. I kind of like that because, like, when I play Minecraft, I love playing it, but I always hope that there's some sort of challenging thing. Something challenging. But there's just, not a lot of that a lot of the time. You heard it's precursor to Vintage Story. Oh, okay. I guess they saw this and were like, we just need to make our own game. We need to do our own thing. Hi, Amelie. How you doing? I was talking to my chat about playing, Vintage Story, which is like more realistic and difficult Minecraft. Not a mod though, its own thing, its own thing. Whenever I go down the rabbit hole of trying to mod survival into a game as realistic as possible, I can remember that I literally can just go outside instead. Oh dude, yeah. I finally finished watching Alone Australia. Ooh. The person that I kind of wanted to win won. I was glad. It was a little bit of a hard watch. Not like that hard for me, but you know what I mean? Like overall it was a bit rough because when you watch that show, basically they drop different people all onto like the same area, but spread it out enough that they won't find each other. And they're alone. They're just given camera equipment and they are alone and they have to sit there and just survive alone. Only with 10 items that they're allowed to bring with them until one of them is left. And whoever is the one person that's left wins, and they get, depends on the season, but they get like 500K, $1 million, 250K, depends on season and location. This one was Australia, and they dropped them in Tasmania, okay, which is like all the way off the southern coast, so getting into the colder part of things. And they're sitting there. The place that they're in, it's all wet. It's like a cold rainforest, basically. And so there was just like no food. There aren't a lot of animals to catch. Even fishing was like rough for a lot of them. There weren't a lot of fish. It was just so rough. So rough. And like the first week, so many people dropped out. Literally, they couldn't even make it a week. And then it was just this long thing between a couple of people just trying to outlast each other. Like almost everyone dropped out so quick. And I was like, oh God. Oh, it was rough. And you just sit there. They start off like despairing a bit or being happy about being out in the wild or whatever, you know? And then by the time they get to the end, it's just people like giving these 1,000-yard stares out into the distance. Like they just become broken people. And I was like, Jesus. And some of them are way more made for this sort of thing, because everyone has those moments, but some of them are still like, I'm just thankful to be here. I'm thankful that the land has fed me. You know, people who feel like that are the only ones that are going to be able to make it. Everyone else just fucking would die out there, dude. The clamming, crabbing, frogging. There were no clams, no crabs, no frogs, nothing. There were just some trout, some eels, which are disgusting to eat sometimes because they're so oily. And it's okay to have like a little bit of eel, it's a delicacy, but when the only food you've got for 2 days is just some eels, it's so fatty it makes you gag. It's so like it's so gross, man. It's so gross. And then the kinds of animals they had around were like pademelon, which is like a it's basically like a little wallaby, right? So there were just a couple little wallabies and like that's it. There were like no animals for them to catch either. So that was so rough. That would change you not for the better. I I love camping. I love survival related stuff, etc. But that is one of the things that is just like I survival out in a place that only has eels and some trout. I no, I'm not good. I'm not good with that. I don't want to do that. And it was nothing but mud everywhere. It was raining every day. It was ugh. It was just disgusting. It was disgusting. So I did not envy them. I did not envy them. They didn't even have like much plant life either. The plants that were around were all just completely inedible, and the one called saw sedge, okay, not sausage, saw SAW sedge SEDGE, that was like the only one that was available, and it's so fibrous, it's like hard to chew. It just ugh, there was nothing for them to eat. It was terrible. Terrible. Imagine your feet afterwards. Yeah, they occasionally have a med check. I think like every couple of days, you know, there is a medical team that comes out, does one med check. They don't tell them anything, so they don't tell them what their values are for their blood pressure, for like, you know, their weight, stuff like that. They just do the check and have them not look, and the med check is to determine if there's a reason why they cannot continue. Like if they drop too much weight and their blood pressure's low, you know, you risk organ failure, things like that. So, you know, so they do that and that's it. I don't know. It's just there was like no food. It was just a starve competition. It was just a starve competition. It was rough. It was rough. There's one guy who actually he got there and was sick immediately, and he's like, "Why am I sick? I just got here." He had COVID. So the first med check, they come in and they're like, "Brother, we figured out that you have COVID," and he was like, "I can't stay," and he had to leave. It was so unfortunate, man. He must have contracted it before going, you know? Terrible timing. Yeah, you said didn't 2 to 3 people give up within the first 48 hours, even though they were all pretty experienced outdoor people? Mm-hmm. Yep. First 48 hours, they had like several. That first week, more than half of them were out, basically. It was so rough. It was so fucking rough. And it was just, I don't know, terrible or perfect timing. Yeah, I think honestly, I would love to do a show like that. But at the same time, when it's about outlasting other people instead of just doing challenges and you get to the point where you're just in a starving competition, I would not want that part, you know? Like that's the part where I'm like, this could have lasting long-term effects, you know? Hi, Octo. New viewer here, ask a question. I am 26. I want to go back to school to learn computer programming, but I have fear like I am too old or won't listen or can do it the job. Any advice? Just do it. Yeah, 26 is not old. I know people that went back to school in their 40s and it, you know, fuck it. It's worth it. I think it's better to go back to school than to just be like, oh, I'm just going to work this dead-end job for forever. You know? If you can afford it or you can make it work, I think just do it. Yeah, 26 is very young. It won't feel like it to you, but it is. You would love to play Survivor, but you're medically incapable. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, one of the main ways to win this show that I was talking about, Alone, is to just show up as fat as you possibly can in preparation. You just need to put straight up fat on your body so you can get into ketosis and just burn that and use that as energy. That is how you win. You know. You know. course that I went back to uni when I was 35. Yeah, I mean, I know plenty of people that have done that. Especially people that started a little bit and then stopped and wanted to kind of like go back and complete what they didn't. You know, it is what it is. I think the only thing is that you're going to feel old because younger people think that everyone older than them is old. So if you're 26 and you're in a classroom with people that are 20 and you say you're 26, they're going to be like, oh my God, oh, you're 26. That's so crazy. But then when you get to 26, you're going to be like, it's not really that different. You might also just not get along with a lot of them that much because they're going to be like, how do I say it? You can get along with people that are much younger than you, but when they're practically still teenagers, right? They're just like a year or two shy of that. They are very different from someone who is several years out of that. And there's going to be a disconnect. You can still make friends with people like that, but you're going to hang out in a group and you're going to be like, I don't belong here at some point. So just make sure you maintain friends your own age is all I have to say. just, you know, keep your social circle wide. Yeah, different level of maturity. Yeah, because straight up, you know, your brain is very different in your young 20s than it is in your late 20s. It's completely different. And you feel the same, but you are not the same. You're not the same. And no matter how mature someone at that age acts, they do not see the world the same as someone who is past that hurdle of, you know, the mid-20s. That's just how it is. That's how that is. Even if they logically do, like, there's just experience that comes along with it that they just don't get it. So just keep friends your own age as well. Have both. I think having both is good. You shouldn't cut off from one. You know? Your Skibbity Ohio lingo reps up. It's not even about the words you say. It's their worldview. You're just going to sit there and be like, wow, I'm so different from these people. That's it. That's it. When I went to trade school, the classes felt like high school extended thanks to the 19-year-olds being rowdy. Yeah, I've like gone back and helped teach things here and there. A friend asked me to come in and like, can you give a lecture about this one thing? I haven't done that for a while, but you know, I had in the past. And I would sit around and it would be a college class. So you think, okay, these are all supposed to be adults. They don't act like adults, okay? Some of them act mature or try, but in general, they just don't act like what you think adults are at all. At all. So, you know, it's, you realize it when you get there. You do. You're a professor? No. As I said, friends have asked me to come back and do things. I have friends who are. Teachers, etc. You did a career fair at the school your mom worked at and all the kids thought you were a streamer. Because you were the Twitch guy. Yeah. They don't even know, like, they have no experience. They have not had enough time to absorb general knowledge yet. So while you can sit there and explain something to them and they can understand a thing, they just won't naturally know a lot of stuff that you in your late 20s and beyond will just naturally know, right? So when you're in your late 20s, if someone says, or even mid-20s, if someone says, I work at Twitch, your first assumption, almost all people in that age bracket are going to be like, they work for that company. Okay? Most people. A younger crowd, you say, I work at Twitch. Most of them, this is something I have witnessed, most of them are like, oh, so you're a streamer. It's just little things like that. It's not even a dumb thing to say. It makes sense from their perspective and what they know about the world. But it's just one of those things where you take notice of these little differences. You know? I don't know, man. You're the Twitch guy, you know. You're over 30 and you feel like you replaced nervousness with apathy. Yeah, it depends on the person, but I think on average that's the case, right? You get to your late 20s and beyond, and you just don't care anymore about a lot of things. I think the younger you are, the more everything feels so significant. That's why people always make fun of it and they go, yeah, I'm 14 and this is deep, you know? They post some shit that some teenager said where they thought it was like so relevant. This is why teenagers are like the biggest stands of different things. Like they care so much about what some celebrity says. They care so much about some artist or whatever. And you're like, wow, you are in so deep. And like, they just care so much. It's because they're young. It's because they're young. And when you're young, you just don't get it. You just don't freaking get it, dude. You don't got it, man. That's okay. Everyone goes through that, you know? You're mates with your friends from college who are like 6 years younger than you. It's like babysitting sometimes. I have a lot of friends through streaming that are like a lot of different ages, very wide age range. And I have some friends that are pretty young, you know, like young 20s. I have some friends that I've met when they were even younger than that. And, you know, technically still teenagers, even if they were adults. And I just, you know, you can be friends with them. It's fine. But I feel like I'm watching them grow up, you know? I'm watching them go through these things. And I'm just like, yep, been there, done that, you know? One of my closest friends I actually met because she was pretty young. She was friends with a bunch of streamers that I was friends with. And she was a really good artist. But she was young. So she was taking commissions and you know, she was hanging out in a server and we, you know, I found out how young she was. She was like 16. And I was like immediately like, if anyone says anything weird to you, you tell me. Immediately I was like, I have no problem with people of different ages hanging out with each other so long as they stay safe, right? And I was like, hey, throwing out a line to you here right now. If anyone says anything to you that's a little odd or they treat you like this or that, you tell me, you know? And she was like, okay, salute. And, you know, so I would just check in on her and make sure she was good. And thankfully she was always good. But, you know, it was just one of those things where we became very close after that, you know, once she was older and older. Like I would commission her as an artist and everything. She was great. And, you know, she's matured well, and we are now peers. But, you know, I was just worried. I was like, you never know. I was like, even though I know everyone in the server, and I'm pretty sure none of them would do anything crazy, you never know. So just tell me in case, you know? I've done that for a few people, you know? I don't think you have to extricate every minor from every community so long as it's like a safe for work community. You know, there's nothing in there that would be like not okay for them, quote unquote. But you should definitely take extra care to make sure that they're talking to a lot of different people and they're not getting cornered by some weirdo. You know what I mean? Make sure they feel comfortable talking to a lot of folks so that way if there is something a little off, someone will hear about it. You know what I mean? I feel like a lot of people online are very afraid to interact with any minors online because they're like, that automatically makes you weird or automatically makes people sus of you or whatever. But I think if people who are good and well-intentioned don't leave that line of communication open to young people in various communities that they're also in, then who are those young people going to go talk to when they have a problem? Or who's going to notice when they have a problem? They might not even notice. But if you're just around them generally here and there, you might clock it first and be like, ooh, don't talk to that person, you know, or whatever. So I think it's really important for people to have eyes on it, at the very least, if you're in a community, you know? I don't know, man. There have been a couple situations like that. I did have one friend that, you know, absolutely had a situation. Absolutely had a weird thing happen. Where someone was, you know, approaching them and they thought it might have been okay. And they're like, this person doesn't seem to have bad intent, but I'm not sure. And I was just like, let me see what your DMs look like. You know, I was like, if you're comfortable with that, let me see them. They're like, okay, this is how we message each other. And I was just reading through it and I was like, no. Like, my very adult brain, you know, was like, that ain't it. How old is that person? That ain't it. You know? So, and if that person didn't have me to like ask about that, who would have clocked it, right? Like, come on, man. So I was very glad I was able to be there. That person didn't do anything, but they were just like, it was off. And that is already over the line, you know? It wasn't it. The hard stratification of ages kind of makes you sad. Didn't used to be weird for people to have friendships with older coworkers. You You gotta be safe, but it's not weird to be friendly with people older or younger. Yeah, you know, I firmly believe that I am the way I am. All my positive traits come from the fact that I was like raised by a village, you know? I had my mother who was very present in my life, and that was great. Had my father, same thing. But I also had a lot of family friends, people unrelated who were heavily in my life as adult figures. I had a lot of older family members that were very in my life. And I would tell them things. I didn't have that weird adult child non-communication kind of relationship. I could tell them anything, you know? And I think, I just think every kid should have that for their own sake. They should, you know? Not should as in the world owes them that, but like, you know, they should. If you can provide that for a kid, you should, is what I'm saying. You know, and because of this, I know a lot of weird people. I've gotten to do a lot of things. I've gotten to do practically everything I ever really wanted to do, even though I was fucking broke, because we knew someone who would take me out to do X thing, you know, or whatever. I got a lot of opportunities through it as well. So, I just think that's, like, really important, man. That's important. Yeah, it takes a village. For sure. I mean, I had, my neighbors growing up I was super close with. I could just go to their house anytime. If I had a moment where, you know, one of my brothers was pissing me off, and I didn't even want to be in the same house, I was just pissed, I would go outside, I'd walk down one door, and I'd go in that next door. And I'd be in someone else's house, and I'd be in a neighbor's house, and I'd be like, hey, yeah, brother's pissed me off. And they'd be like, oh, what's going on? You know, and I'd start like telling them about it, and they'd be like, you want ice cream? And I'd be like, yeah. And that was, you know, the Jamaican family friends who feed you. Yeah, I mean, one of my closest, one of the adults who practically raised me outside of my parents was one of my best friend's moms, you know, who lived very close by, and I could just walk over there. And, you know, it's a Jamaican family, and I would go there and get fed. And I would go there and get fed. I wouldn't want that. I would just go over there and be like, hey, I want to hang out. And they'd be like, here's all this food. Here's all this stuff to do. And they were just super nice, man. I'd hang out there all the time. You grew up in a sitcom? Yeah. Yep. Yep. It was nice. I had a lot of my neighbors were always different cultures and things too. So I think that was a big part of my upbringing, right? Is like every door down the block, every single door, the family was a completely different ethnicity and usually like original nationality. A lot of them were immigrants. So you know, a lot of those people like spoke English but had their quirks, or, you know, kind of couldn't speak English in some ways, the adults at least. And it forced me to like learn to adapt to those kinds of things and learn to communicate via charades and shit, you know. And it's good. It's a good experience. I think every kid should be able to do that. But if you're like, no, don't talk to your neighbor, we don't know them like that, you know, it just sucks. It just sucks. Have you been to a Latino gathering? You don't need to even ask. I've been to everything. We had one set of neighbors that were Cuban, and they would do the whole pig roast. But thing is, like, we didn't have backyards, we didn't have grass, stuff like that. It was all concrete, you know. So what we would do is, actually, a couple of the different neighbors would do this. So there were stone bricks and things at the edge of the curb or in front of people's houses, and we would pull up the free floating bricks that were either against the curb or in front of houses, pull them out of the ground and make a little oven shape with them, and then cook shit and then put them back when we were done. So we would do this on like the sidewalk. And we would do it all the time. And we would just like grab the bricks all the way up from people's garden beds and stuff, and set up like a giant oven, and then that family would do a pig roast, and then everyone on the block would, you know, be eating good. And then we'd put it right back when it was done, you know. It was great. At the quinceañera. Yeah, no, and ironically, yeah. I've been to like 1,000 of them. I've been to 1,000 bat mitzvahs and bar mitzvahs as well. I've just, you know, when you're around a lot of people with a lot of different cultures, you end up going to like every holiday, celebrating literally everything. Every birthday is different, you know? It's fun, man. It's fun. You have a near 10-year older brother that was raised to be religious while you were not. Oh, interesting. Very interesting. I have some family members that are like religious and then some that are absolutely not. It's an interesting dynamic. I'm lucky in that no one's very antagonistic toward anyone who doesn't think the same as them. I think the only time it happens is when someone has a medical scare. If someone's like, you should just pray, they're like, shut the fuck up. But I don't really think there are many people in my family that are like that at all. Like, other than like one extended family member that might say something like that who's like really lost in the sauce. But, you know, luckily no one's that lost in it. My grandmother, when she was writing on her like, you know, career survey, what do you want to do when you get out of high school or whatever, my grandmother said she wanted to be a nun. So she was quite Catholic. She wanted to be a nun, straight up. And she was going to college for basic studies, and then she wanted to be a nun because she wanted to be one of the ones that was a teacher. You know, that's what she wanted to do. And teach in a Catholic school. And then she like met my grandfather and was like, I guess I can't be a nun, but you know, you know how it goes. You know how it goes. You lived next to a childhood friend of your dad's and his family, and you just went to their house and played with their kids like 3 times. It's as weird as it sounds. I had that too, where like my dad had some family friends, you know, he had friends of his, and he'd be like, you should hang out with their kids because you're like the same age. And I'd be like, I don't get along with these people at all. Like I don't know them. We don't have anything in common. Being kids is not enough to crash people together and make them be friends. I put up with that a lot. Some cousins too, some extended family. Like one side of my family is all super close, and even if you know, you don't see one all the time, like the people are very open-minded and very similar in that, so everyone can get along. The other side of the family, like a lot of the people are very set in their ways. If you don't agree with you know, something they think they like can't handle it. Sorry, my cat's walking in front of my phone. They can't handle that, you know. So on that side of the family, I find some of the cousins and things, like I can get along with anyone, but I'm like, yeah, we're not going to be best friends, you know, depending on who I'm with. I definitely have that. It's different on both sides. Some of your family members are very preachy. Every chance they get, they involve their faith. Your Catholic grandmother was sick of it. Yeah. Yeah, my grandmother was very, her faith was really important to her. That was the be-all end-all for her. But she didn't care what you did so long as you lived a virtuous life, right? Follow the 10 commandments and just like don't do any heinous crimes and you're okay. She was not the kind of person who was like, you have to go to church to have faith. She was very like, that's just something between you and you know, whatever powers you believe in. That's for you, you know? So she was very like, very Catholic, but also quite open-minded. So I was lucky in that. Spoken like a true Catholic. Well, that's what she would say. Oh, when people like in the church would be very harsh about it, you have to be this way to be faithful, whatever. She'd be like, that's not Catholicism. She would like call people out. She hated it. She'd be like, did God say that? No. Right? Lucky, stop moving, stop. She would be like, yeah, some priest, some human decided that. So she was very like, you know, she was very, she both loved her religion and hated it at the same time. She hated certain types and things about the organized religion, you know. She wanted to be a part of it because she wanted to fix a lot of things, honestly. Like that's kind of what her mission was. But then she figured she couldn't as an individual, so she was like, fuck it. I'll just get married and live my life. Be a housewife, you know, whatever. But yeah. No, she ain't wrong. She ain't wrong. She loves the J, man. She was one of those people where she would get pissed that a lot of other parts of Christianity, again, she was very Roman Catholic. She would get really pissed that they would make everything about Jesus and not God. This was something that bothered her a lot. This bothered her so much. She was like, okay, he was the prophet. he was carrying the word of him. Why are you deifying him beyond a certain point? And she would get really mad because a lot of Christians from other, you know, types of Christianity would they would like thank Jesus for literally everything, like over, they would say more than God. It would just piss her off. I noticed it bothered her. I was like, are you okay? And she'd hear someone on TV be like, I thank Jesus every day. And she'd be like, do they thank God every day? I'd be like, all right, grandma, it's okay. Yeah, she was a really good Catholic. She was. It was funny, man. It was kind of funny. She didn't like it. It's a fair point. She would get really mad at people using things about their religion or about the Bible to scapegoat stuff or to make excuses for their behavior. It just, she hated it. She was very like properly devout, you know. Yeah, she didn't like the LARPers basically. Religiously on smoke. Yeah. Some sects believe they are one and the same. They kind of do, right? They blend the two together. Whereas she was a very like, nope, he was a person. You know, kind of person. I don't know. Good old Graham. My dogmatic side wants to bring the Trinity into this. she would bring it up. No, I get you. We don't have to go there. But she would start calling that out as well. Yeah. That was another thing. Every now and then, it was not very often, but I remember hearing her a couple times going, everyone seems to forget the Holy Spirit, huh? She would like, she'd be like, no mention of it, huh? Yet you say you're religious. It was always so funny because like I'm not very religious. I love a lot of the traditions of it. And I think, you know, when wielded properly, it can be really good for communities, depending. It can also be really terrible. You know, as someone not very religious myself, I would hear her say these things, and I was like, I just found it so funny. And she was so right. You know, if you are a faithful person, like, she was so right. Yeah, just fucking faith checking. She wouldn't say it to those people always. She would, like, say it to a family member about that person, right? She'd be like, yeah, you know, I think they something, but she wasn't confrontational. She didn't really care to correct them, you know, unless they were talking to her about it. If they were talking to her, then she'd do it. But yeah, it was funny, man. Yeah, she did feel like they were fake fans. It ain't that easy to really understand on a deep level either. No, and I would bring that up to her. I'd be like, hey, you studied this stuff. You literally wanted to be a nun. Okay, so you have this deep knowledge of how these things are supposed to work and what this is and who's okay with what the church actually cares about and what they don't. Others don't. They just don't, you know, and she kind of recognized that. And then I think that's why she wasn't confrontational about it. She figured people were just repeating what they were taught, you know. But, you know. In the posers. You grew up Roman Catholic and you're glad you got out of it. Yeah, there are things about it that I love and things about it that I hate. Straight up. And I find that a lot of communities around the Roman Catholic Church can be really great communities. Very supportive people, really focusing on a lot of things that matter, a lot of the humanitarian work you can do around your own community through them. They're genuinely focusing on the right stuff a lot of the time. Not all of them, but a lot of Roman Catholic churches. I think that's good. But, you know, yeah, it depends on the individual church. It depends on the individual community. I don't think you can hold them all together and blame them all together for a thing that happens. It's really like, this church is separate. It's run by these people. They follow the same books and teachings, but, you know, the way they apply it is on those people in that church. So, you know, I was lucky in that I had my choice to go to as many different ones as I wanted. And, you know, there were ones that were really nice and there were others that were absolutely terrible. So, you know, there were some churches that treated kids like shit, like they were invisible, you know, or were awful and terrible to them. And then there were other churches that were like, no, our goal is to raise these children well and give them everything. And they would be the opposite, you know? So it just depended on the individual place, really. You have an aunt who was a comparative religions major and a devout Catholic. She loved arguing and discussing all of it. I think that stuff is cool, but how do you make money doing that? Like you study that and then what? Become a theology professor? Like, is it like sociology? Like what? You know, and I do know that churches can have a lot of money. If you get hired into a church to run a program or something, you can get paid. But I think it's just academia, right? I don't know. That's rough. She worked at a bookstore for her entire life. Her husband's in IT. Yeah, sounds about right. It's one of those things where I'm like, I think that made sense when everyone went to college for $2 and most women became housewives. Then, you know, study whatever to have knowledge in it and apply it to your life. Yeah, but studying isn't like that anymore. It's all for the purpose of a job now, so, right? Most annoying thing about it is when it becomes dogmatic and unquestionable. Yeah, but, you know, you're not really applying the scientific method to those arguments, so you go into it knowing that, right? Tithings are just the gifted subs of the church. Yeah, that's why I always say you should send me your tithings instead in the form of gifted subs or donations. You know, tithe to me. That's what I'm saying. And then it goes back out to the community because I pay the editors. I pay managers. It's wonderful. It's wonderful how it works. Meowsers, thank you for the tier 3 for 32 months. Thank you. Oh, Akalis, thank you for the tithing. W tithe.
Praise be big GEEGA,
praise be. You know, I don't know why the TTS via channel points has not been working. I'm gonna put it on pause. I think someone tried to use it earlier and they might have gotten scammed because it didn't work. I'm gonna pause it so you can't use it. For some reason, I think it's something with the API that one's just not working. Thank you. Stream is my favorite mega church. Mine too. I literally have scenes that look like churches and stuff. Giga church. You're gonna like one of my future outfits. We got something cooking. Roll Tide. I think Roll Tide is crazy. Oh god. The new channel point sync, can't just scamaz myself. Yeah. I gotta do something about that. I gotta think about that. One sec. Clickety clackety. Ultra doo-doo-shit roll for 1 million points. Honestly, yeah, someone of you posted in the Discord that you have 1 million channel points now. How many channel points do you guys have? What are you up to at this point? That's crazy. That's actually crazy. 227k. 69,000. Back up to 600 after an NFB and doo-doo-shit roll. Wow, you guys have hundreds of thousands. Maybe I do need some point syncs. Okay. Interesting. Maybe we should have them. You're not allowed to gamble them where you live? I mean, we don't have any gamba features here. We just don't have any. We don't. Twitch bugged out during a poll in Mousy stream for you and you lost like 300k. Oh, it's rough. How about I redeem where I give you a name and a job in the mob army? No. I'm gonna tell you right now. I I got rid of any redeems where I midstream have to do something. I got rid of anything like that. Because I think when I was a smaller streamer, it made sense, right? I would have like an ask a question redeem, which you could just ask a question, chat, doesn't matter. But I'd have like these redeems where I'd have to stop and do a thing. But yeah, they don't scale. They don't scale. Yeah, I used to do the slap redeem. All these different things, they were fun. They were fun, but yeah, as things scaled up, I couldn't do it. Yeah, we had a redeem where I would just stop what I was doing and play Trombone Hero, song of your choice. That was just that was one of my favorite ones. It was tromboner time, but it's one of those things you just can't do when you're a certain size. It just can't happen anymore because everyone starts to have like crazy amounts of points. You just can't. You were saving for that. I do miss tromboner time, but it's one of those things. Even if I turn it up, right, and I make it to where it's like a lot of points, there are just too many viewers, and everyone ends up with those points at some point. It doesn't work. Yeah, it's always tromboner time. It doesn't work. So, yeah. Maybe like bring it back for a single stream. I mean, yeah, it's not a redeem though.
A tromboner redeem. In those heels in this economy, it would literally just be a trombone stream every stream.
Yeah, that's why I had to get rid of that. So anything where I had to stop what I was doing and do a thing midstream, or that took like individual effort from me, I had to remove. So there's still some things that we have that take individual effort, like if you do the doo-doo shit Discord role, right? But that's a lot of points, and a mod does it, not me, right? So stuff like that, yeah, I had to remove them. It was kind of a sad day when I was like realizing that, and I was like, wow, we're spending so much time every stream of me stopping to do redeems instead of me just talking or just playing the games that I'm supposed to play. Like it felt like everything I was doing was just getting interrupted all the time. And I was like, man, because I like them, but yeah, they don't scale. It's really for small streamers. It really is. It really is. Even the prayer. Yeah, the prayer is something I could set up where maybe we could do it once per stream, but I can't have it where like anyone could trigger it anytime, because everyone would come in and be like, oh, I bet they haven't played the prayer yet. And then we'd have to sit there and I'd have to just stop talking and let this redeem play, this 30 seconds of audio. And I just have to sit there, you know? And it wasn't something people paid for. I eventually made it bits, but it wasn't a lot, you know? It was, before that was just channel points. So it's like, I can't. What about cooldowns? The cooldowns don't really work when you want them to be off for the rest of the stream. You can do a single one, but even then, what would happen in that case is people would play it at the very beginning of stream, and then everyone would miss it because I set it to only work once. So, yeah, it would insta-pop. So that wouldn't work either. Because then, you know, 200 people max would see it at the beginning of stream, and everyone else would come in and be like, oh, you did the prayer? Oh, man. So there was, like, no point. There was no point. You know? Is there a way to queue them? Yeah, so you can't do that with Twitch's tools, with redeems. You could queue things on your own using other programs, but I promise you guys, I've tried it all. I've tried it all. Nothing was better than just saying, fuck it, get rid of them. Literally nothing was better than just getting rid of them and focusing on the damn stream, you know? Like, all these gimmicks are cool, but you have to get rid of them after a certain point. If I flop and I go back down to, like, you know, 100 viewers, I'll put them back. Promise. What if the prayer goes off after an hour and there's a countdown on stream for it? People love seeing countdowns. True. Maybe they'll sub just because there's a number on the screen. Maybe. So there's a chance. Yeah, I have to ruin everything. And then I'll do it. As far as I can see, people usually opt to, like, do temporary toggle stuff like model swaps or Le Funny Dog spinning in place for some time that doesn't take the streamer's attention. It makes sense. Yeah, I swapped it out for instead a lot of, like, sounds and things you can play with bits. And a lot of them are a little bit shorter. We do have the ones where you play an entire remix of a thing, but those cost enough that I think it's, like, balanced and people don't spam it. But I just turn up the prices on stuff like that. And if anything, I'm thankful for some of those because it makes me stop talking for a bit, and I never stop talking. So I should, you know. I think it's good for me to have these little mini breaks. So when the music plays, I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna just stand up and walk around. Perfect. People that have a permanent unmoving 9 out of 10 daily subs to bait people into subbing. I have a really quick script that you can put in Stream Elements where it shows. So I have the current counter on the bottom, right? I don't put a goal. I just put a current counter. But I have one that all it does, yeah, is just do X plus 1. So if it said 65, it would say add a 66. And then if you gifted one, it would go, okay, 66, add a 67. Whatever that first number is, it would just do that plus 1. And I have that. So, you know what? Maybe I should throw that back on. Maybe I should do it. I love that thing. Hold on. Important DM. Hold on. Okay, there we go. There we go. I'm also gonna open and eat my food. I had some food here, but I was feeling a little earlier, so I didn't start eating. I was just snacking. Well, I think I'm good now. Oh, hi, Nucky. The moment I crack my fucking food, the moment I crack it, you hear it within seconds. Nucky, we can't be doing that. We can't be doing that. Yeah, he's trying it. He's trying it. Yeah, I love this emote so much. As quick as hell. He is always just like waiting, watching, ready for his moment, you know? He knows that I have food on my desk, and he knows that this container or this thing is gonna get open. So what he does is he sits around, and he's either in this room or he's on this little tiny rug right outside of it, right outside of the doorway. And he doesn't leave. He doesn't leave a certain radius, because the moment I touch and I go, and I touch the little container, he just shoots over. He goes like, you know. He knows what he's doing. He's smart. He's a smart cat. A little too smart. Yeah, he furry runs over. He really does, though. He'll be asleep, snoring, okay? Completely asleep. I'll touch a plastic container, and he goes, like, jumps up, eyes still closed, and he's just running. He's like, I heard it. It's so dumb. So fucking stupid. So stupid. Yeah, selective hearing. It's insane how strong his is. You know how smart they are? Yeah, I think they're really good at training you, right? Getting people into patterns that benefit them. Sounds like an positively annoying boon on life. Yeah, he's great. He's like laying out. He's laying his body all splayed out on the rug. He's great. He's smart. He establishes a lot of dark patterns for me, but he's a good cat. He wakes me up every day by meowing in my face. And he has learned that even if he meows in my face, I will do everything I can to keep my eyes closed and not wake up. So now what he does is when my breathing changes and he can tell that I'm awake, because he will literally check my breathing, He meows in my face, but he positions his head in this weird way and then turns it so that his whiskers go into my nose. And that is his new strat. Because I cannot possibly not like move my arm and push him away when he does that. Because I like play dead. I straight up play dead, you know, when he tries to wake me up. But he has figured out that that works. So yeah, he's when I tell you my cat is like really annoying, he's really annoying and he's very smart. Very smart. He has somehow figured that out. He has straight up figured that out. Mm. You serve cats and dogs serve you, but pigs view you as equal. Yeah, I've heard that one. I've heard that one. I think it's not that you serve cats. I think it's more like the way I see it is they see you as their parent. That's it. They see you as their parent or like the alpha in their pack, which, you know, a lot of people are like, cats aren't pack animals. They do absolutely live in families, and there's like a mom cat a lot of the time. Some of them go off and be independent. Some of them stay in groups. And the way I see it is that they see you as that figure. And that means that you eat first and then you feed them. And that's why cats will bring you food too. They're like, hello, I have procured for the group. And they go kill a bird and leave it on the doorstep or whatever, right? The idea is like everyone procures food if they can. And then they all drop in an area and then, you know, you eat, right? Like, you know, you dole out the food. And that's kind of what the mom cat does. And that's, I think that's how they see it, to be honest. Yeah, I think they think you're just a really big cat. Hold on. Your cat sometimes isn't eat unless you sit next to her and watch her eat. Oh, yeah. They're good at that now, but Wolfie used to do that to me. When I first got him, I think for the first almost a year, if he still does it occasionally, but if I put food down, a lot of the time when I put food down, my cats are eating, I like to like walk around and you know, wipe the counters down, like clean something while they're doing that, just so I can be floating around in case they try to eat each other's food, but getting shit done. So I'll put food down for them. They start eating. I turn around. He used to every day follow me if I walked away. So I had to stay within like a 3-foot radius and only clean things. So that circle right around them was ultra clean. So sanitized. And then I would do like, I would try to walk away just a little bit more each day, and he would like run to me and I'd be like, go ahead, and then he'd go back and eat. And I got him used to it, but still, if I put food down and immediately walk away, he always looks at me and he's like, are we good? You know? And he checks. He always does it. Cat parents get annoyed by their children just as much as humans. Yeah, oh. You know, one of my friends, she has this mom cat who has 5 kittens that they took in and spayed and neutered all of them so that they couldn't continue to have kittens or anything. But they were all unable to be rehomed. They were all just so incredibly feral. So she set up a shelter outside for them that they stay in, and they can roam, but for the most part, like, she keeps them on her land, and they don't really have predators around there, so they're safe. Those cats, they have the mom cat and the 5. The mom cat is so pissed off by them all the time. All the time. It's like constant that one of the babies will like walk up to her and like rub her, like bother her. They'll push her around and she'll be like, "Meh," and just smack them. It's just, that's the dynamic all the time. It's kind of cute. It's kind of cute. Your cat won't eat without you sitting beside him. Yeah, Wolfie's better with it now. First year I had him, really for 6 months especially, I had to sit down next to him. And I would have to pet him. If I didn't pet him occasionally, he'd just look to make sure I was still there. Even though he didn't hear me leave, he'd still like look and check. I think he was just anxious. He's always been a little bit of an anxious cat. He's really good now, but that first couple of years he was so anxious all the time. But he's chilled out. He's mellowed out. Now he's just cute. He's just cute and stupid. I kind of miss having a dog. I don't want to get another one. Not so long as I'm a streamer. Like, I just... No. I wouldn't be able to do right by a dog with the schedule that I have. But I miss having one. I sure do. I sure do. I always used to have a cat and a dog at all times. I miss having a dog, then I go to work. Yeah, I need a neighbor to get a dog, and then I play with the dog. I have some dogs, but they're not neighbors that I know. They're just people that I see, like, walking their dogs around. I need one of my neighbors to get a puppy. That's what I really need. Miss having a dog and don't have one for the same reason. Mm-hmm. Yep. I mean, my last dog, I used to take her out all the time. All the time. She was a really big dog. And I would load her up into the car. And I'd drive her somewhere. Or I'd just, honestly, usually I'd just walk her somewhere. And I would bring her to a park. I'd bring her to a beach, you know, whatever. And she would just hang out. She loved the beach. She loved to run into the water and get hit by it and then come to me crying. She would cry. She would be like, oh my god, yes, water, and she'd run at the ocean. She'd be so excited, and then the waves would touch her, and she'd start crying, and she'd run to me. And I'd be like, what are you... You wanted this. And then I'd like wipe her feet a little, and she'd be like, all right, it's good. And then she'd go run to it again. And she'd be like, yeah! And she'd like frolic, and then the water would start touching her feet, and she'd be like, She would like both have fun and realize she didn't like the water at the same time, but she loved it at the same time. I don't know. She was just confused constantly. She was very stupid, but what a nice dog. She was a good dog. She was great. Water wet. I think she loved playing in the water, but she hated when she was done playing with the water and then she was still damp. Because, you know, in her mind, she's like, I'm done with the water. I don't want to be damp anymore. But she couldn't not be damp. So she was, I don't know. She loved it, though. When she was going into the water, she loved it. And then the moment she came out of it, she was like, oh, I'm wet. Poor thing. You had labs who loved the ocean? Well, she was mixed with lab and border collie. And she loved it. She loved it up until she had to get out of the water and come back, and she would be like, ooh. Make friends with someone with the dogs to get the benefits of dog companionship with none of the downsides. That's what I was saying just before this, Oshi. I was saying that, like, I need a neighbor to get a dog. A puppy. And then have a really rowdy one. And I'm like, oh, you need someone to watch your puppy because you're so busy. And then I watched the puppy like one time. That's good. That's good. That's what I need. I saw a clip the other day of a dog that would only shake itself dry when it was standing next to the original poster's brother. The dog would straight up chase their brother down and then shake all their water off. Yeah. My dog would wait until I started to wipe her feet to shake herself off. Specifically, I had to be lifting one of her feet and then she'd shake. And I'd be like, brother, please. Like, I just do this first, you know? Not when, like, my face is right next to you. And again, big dog. So, like, face height. Just insane. Insane. Favorite dog at your job is an old Ridgeback you've known for years? Ooh. If I got another dog, I don't know what kind of dog I'd even want. I try to not think about it too much because I don't want to convince myself that I actually want one at any point. And I'm not going to get one. But I always had breeds that I favored. I think you did send me a picture. Yeah. I think you did. Pretty sure. Yeah. You've also sent me a bunch of pictures of like an old Great Dane and like some of the seniors. Cute. They're all cute. Buddy's brother got a pointer puppy. I I just wouldn't want a small dog. I don't like the little tiny ones. They're all these like tiny, tiny little dogs that look like fucking weird rats, and I just don't. I don't want it. I don't want it. I want a full size, normal ass dog, and I don't want to even go for a specific breed. I would want to go to a shelter and just grab one and be like, this dog needs a home, and then I take it home. There you go. I just lucked out with my last dog. That she was so good. You want a blue heeler, but you need a cow for it to chase around. Ooh, you could be like one of those people that goes out, buys a little land, builds a house and a ranch on it, has like 2, 3 animals so that you can pay official farm tax rates. And there you go. And then your blue heeler can chase your 2 cows around all day. You could do that. Yeah, the tech worker dream. It's true. I had a friend move out to a place, I think I mentioned this before, where one of her neighbors has emus. They have 4 emus in this large pen, just like running around this field. And they have a little barn to stay in. And she hires, or not she, her neighbor hires somebody to come by every day and be their caretaker. So the person who lives there doesn't even have to do anything for them. They're just there in case that person can't come by. And then they pay way less on taxes. And the amount that they pay that person to be the caretaker is less than what they save on their taxes. So they're actually making, quote unquote, they're saving more by doing this, which is crazy. Crazy. I don't think that works in every area, but where they are, it does work. Very interesting. Very, very interesting. I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want to do it. I'd rather just stay in a more dense area, to be honest. Emus and alpacas are not very hard to breed. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're quite easy. Some of them are really easy to take care of in general, too. They just don't need anything. They don't need a damn thing. I think if I were keeping animals, I don't know. I would want a couple sheep. I like sheep. I would want a couple sheep. No, goats. You know what? Never mind. I want goats. If I had to do that, I need to have, you know, like a Noah's Ark kind of thing, just a couple of an animal. I'd go for goats. I don't think I would go for any other animal. I think cows are so sweet. They're so nice, but what a hassle, and they're huge. I'm okay. Pigs are pretty great. Pigs are pretty great. I like them. I just, again, they're really big. If there's an issue, can I pick up a giant pig and move it around? And, you know, no, I don't want to deal with any of that. Horses are nice. I've just never been a horse girl. Not into it. Yeah, chickens and ducks would be good. Maybe ducks. I did have a family member that had ducks. Ducks could be the way. I think ducks are cute. Your dad wants alpacas, and you've never seen your mom so vehemently oppose the idea in your life. I do have one family member that keeps, like, getting new animals all the time, and it's starting to piss me off, because I'm like, hey, you have to take care of your existing pets, and taking care of them, making sure they're alive is one thing. Spending time with them because they're social animals is a different thing and takes up a lot of your time. So don't get more pets when you have a couple of social ones, but she keeps getting more. And I'm like, stop. Stop. She has 2 very smart birds, and they're wonderful, and I love them. And then she has an aviary with a bunch of other birds in it. But some of those other birds that she has are very smart as well. And I'm like, hey, you know, yes, they have each other, but, like, they like you too. And if you're not sitting with them all the time, it's just not right. So she's going to rehome some of them to, like, individual owners instead. And I was like, you know what? Thank God. I feel bad, but thank God, because just leaving them in an aviary and feeding them is just not the way. It's not the way. Like, she had several birds, but she had 2 conures, which is a type of parrot, and a cockatiel in there. And I'm like, these are all birds that if you just had them individually as your only bird, they would be your best friend. They're very social. They want that. Yes, birds can bond to each other and everything, but, like, it's not, I don't know. It's okay. It's not the right thing to do. So yeah, she's gonna rehome them. Finally. Finally. I've been trying to push her to do it. Because she has the other two birds that are bigger, smarter, you know, very communicative. And I think she just should focus on them. That's it. That's the one where she has the one bird that if I look at him and I lift up my arms and say beauty, he'll also do it. He'll lift up his wings behind him and he'll stretch them out and he'll go beauty and he'll say it. He loves it. He's such a sweet bird. I love him. I really like birds in general. Glask. Yeah, he's a very very smart bird. She has two that are very smart. And the boy, I love him so much. I love him so much. He'll hang out with me. I'll go up and I'll talk to him and I'll be like, "Hey, hello." And he'll be like, "Good morning, good morning, good morning." The other bird also says good morning and what you doing. They're cute. But she has them too. Two really smart birds, which one is already a lot. And then she also has this aviary with a bunch of other birds in them. And I'm like, stop. You don't need more. So, finally, she will be downsizing. Finally. But man, I love birds. They make such good pets. The problem is that they're like actually like taking care of children. So, I'm good. I'm not gonna get a bird. But I miss having them. I used to have one. I have had a couple, but there was one in particular. We had this. Was he a cockatiel or a cockatoo? He was a cockatiel. He was very smart, and he would talk, and I loved him. He had a golden conure in the shop who was special needs. He was the cutest. His owner would say happy, and he'd do a little dance, hang upside down from the top of his cage. Yeah. Yeah. They're so cute. Conures are very smart. They can live a long time, too. One of my other family members had a conure, and he passed away, finally. They had him for 20-something years. And they can live longer. Some of them can get, you know, even older than that. And they ended up getting a new bird after. But it was like, that was really rough for them because, I mean, I want to say he was like 28 or something. I don't know. He was a very old bird. Hi, clown pubes. It was a whole thing, man. It was the whole thing. Just start feeding crows. No, don't feed wildlife. That same family member has a turkey vulture in their backyard. She was saying, this turkey vulture has been coming by and just staring at her bird, and they've been staring each other down. Because her current parrot, he has a cage, like quite a large one, a nice one, and it's next to a window so you can look out. And this turkey vulture just comes out and they just stare at each other through the glass. And they started communicating, right? Where like the parrot starts like making motions at it, and then the turkey vulture like extends its neck and makes little motions too. So now they have like, I don't know if it's a friendship or if it's like a, hey, if I get out of here I'm gonna fucking kill you kind of thing. Hard to tell. But they seem to be friendly. They seem to be pretty friendly. Macaws, when taken care of, can live a very long time. Let me see what kind of thing my aunt has. Let me see. I always wanted a cockatoo. Is he an Amazon? Let me see. A lot of people have an eclectus. It's not bad. She doesn't have a cockatoo. She doesn't have a macaw. It might be an Amazon? He's kind of like macaw sized though. He's a big boy. He's a really big boy. Put a picture of the Special Boy and Pets channel. Ooh, go into the Discord right now. Let me see. Hold on. Ooh, he's got his head in a little bell. He's cute. He's cute. Yeah, I love birds, man. I love birds so much. Oh, Amazons don't get that big. Yeah, that's why I think what she has is not an Amazon. Kind of has a similar face though. I'm gonna scroll through a list of birds and see if I can figure out what it is. He's kind of all green, and then he just has a little whitish near his eye. He might be a type of macaw, actually. I just always see these like patterns that don't look right to me. Because he's all green. I don't know what type of bird he is. I don't know what type. Let me see. No, he's not a military macaw. They still have, like, you know, all the blue patterning and everything. I don't know. Well, he looks like one, even if he doesn't have the same patterning. But he's a big boy. He's a big boy, and I love him. He's just so cute. He's just so cute. He's so nice, and you know, a lot of the time when family members have had pet birds, they just want to kill me. Like, they just hate everyone who is not their owner. But this parrot likes me. So I could actually hang out with him and not get bitten, which is very cool. He'll still bite, but he's like a bitey boy. He's not like trying to hurt, you know? I don't know. I kind of want a cockatoo, though. I like their stupid little heads. Let me show you a picture. You've probably all seen the sulfur-crested cockatoo. This one's white with the little yellow frond up top. Most people have a cockatiel, which is a much smaller one. This guy. This guy. Look at his stupid head frond. And then when it's not deployed, it's like a little tail on the back of its head. And I really like it. I really like these. Hold on, ready? So when they're not spiking out their hair like that, you know, when they're not like pushing their feathers out, it's like this little nub on the back of their head, and then they bloom. They bloom like little Pikmin. I love them, and I love the little yellow cheek. Oh, oh, oh! What a cockatoo! I want a bird. I'm not getting a bird. They're too much. They're too fucking much. They're so cute. I've seen videos of these overtaking Australian cities. They're really funny. Their personalities are, you know, birds in general are very funny. But I find cockatoos are crazy with it. Here, let me find a video. It's time. It's video time. Hold on, hold on. I gotta find the right one. I just don't want a video from the dodo because they voice over it so much. Cockatoo finding out he's going to the vet 10 years ago. You just know this is going to be a banger video. Hold on. Because you know they're smart. When I say it, I mean it. Having a bird is literally having a toddler. There's just absolutely no difference beyond a certain point. That's it. You have a toddler, and you have to play games with them all the time. Except they're a cute bird. And you don't have to change their diapers. Instead, you clean their cage. And they're always like that. Yeah, lifelong. So yeah, cockatoo, 70 years old. I mean, you know, up to 70. That's crazy. All right. We have two options. I'm just gonna stay in the corner here while we vote. Do I Wait, what is this? Hold on. Have you seen this hype train emote? What the fuck is that? It's a balloon dog shitting. A gift for you is what it's called. Yeah, no, I know. I could tell. It's a balloon dog shitting. Cool. That's great. That's great. You know what? I'm glad Twitch is finally getting it. I complained the other day that they're so out of touch, and you know, they think that like we like stuff like the Grass Lord, you know, and I was really thinking that they just didn't get us. But now that they've added a gift for you as a hype train emote, I think they're getting it. I think they're starting to understand what the people really want, which is a balloon dog shitting. That's really good. I genuinely like it. Very poop core. Mm-hmm. Very poop core. Okay. Do we do? Do we do? Number 1, I play RimWorld for the first time. Number 2, I play Vintage Story for the first time. Number 3, I continue playing Diplomacy's Not an Option. Okay. RimWorld, very popular game. You know, everyone's played it, and they're all like, you would love this. It's your type of game. You know, we'll see. Number 2, Vintage Story looks like Minecraft, but it's not. It's got some Eldritch Horror in it, and it's very, like, about building stuff. It's voxel based. It's interesting. But it's not really about the building so much as it is surviving, and you have to do shit like, you want to make a tool? Okay, you have to find ore, you have to get the ore, you have to smelt it down into liquid hot metal, and then you have to pour it into a mold that you had to make somehow. It's a whole thing. And then Diplomacy's Not an Option we played before. That is the sort of like a tower defense-y city builder-y thing where we have to go through levels. And I really liked that game a lot, so I want to continue that too. So let's pick. I'm picking these options because of like the Steam sale that's going on. It kind of reminds me of them. So which we'll do RimWorld, Vintage Story, or Diplomacy is Not an Option. I'll just do INAO because it won't fit. There we go. You bought after the last stream of it? Yeah. That game is really fun. Diplomacy is Not an Option is nice because I'm tired of those kinds of builders with no point to it. Instead, this one, it's you're building up a base and an army, and then you have to tower defense against it. So I like it. I like it. But we'll see. I should tell. I have one friend that if it does end up being RimWorld, I'll tell him I'm playing it. He's made like 1,000 RimWorld videos. He's one of those like former like small YouTube creator kind of people who did nothing but make videos about one game. And he just made like thousands of RimWorld videos. I saw him in GTA the other day, and he was like, "You like video games?" I was like, "Yeah." Like to my character, he's like, "Yep." I could hear him like try not to laugh. He's like, "You ever play RimWorld?" I was like, "No." What about you? He's like, "Nah, never." Nah. Ooh, Vintage Story. Okay. Let me get that open. Let's actually go here to this scene. Rah! Okay. I also want to note, by the way, it's Michi's birthday. It's Michi's birthday. So when she streams later tonight, I don't know if I'll stream up until she goes live or whatever, but if we'll see if we can raid her. It's Michi's birthday. Don't forget. Don't do it. You better not forget. Huzzah! I'm very excited for her. Very excited.